everyone. Season's greetings and welcome to USA Global TV. Hello to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio out of New York. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is The Wise Ones. I'm really excited because of our guest, and I'm a little sad because it's the last show with my incredible co-host, Fred Kienle. We're going to hear all about Fred. Let's bring him out. Fred, welcome to the show.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here. I'm sad. I'm myself saddened because it is my last show. It's co-hosting with you because it's been an incredible journey. We've met some incredible people and spoken with them, and we had a glorious journey together. And it's been a pleasure knowing you and being able to be a co-host on your show, USA Global TV, which has been a blessing to me. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Fred. I've learned so much from you. You've brought some wonderful people to the platform, and I'm sure you and I are going to be doing something together in the future. So I'll be excited about that. And also, our show will continue on. Mr. Red O'Laughlin is going to be taking over as co-host, and there'll be a new time and a new day. We'll be announcing that next week. So, Fred, tell us a little bit about your background as an author, speaker, and singer.
Well, I always started out when I was a kid. I always wanted to be on stage. I wanted to play the guitar. I wanted to be a musician. And what it all culminated in is that I did become a musician. Had a band for several years, about 25 years. Ended up in Chicago. We did 2 years up there. Did some recording and had a great time there. Learned a lot about myself and about people and how to work with people. It was an incredible journey. Just being music's incredible. And when I got out of that, I came down here to Dallas to work for Texas Instruments and Raytheon, and that was an incredible journey, and it helped me grow. And I became a supervisor, a Six Sigma expert, and did so many things. I'm telling you that because it just increased my knowledge about people. Everything I've done all through my life has been about attitude. And so I started thinking, why don't I do things with attitude? So I started doing safety with an attitude. I started a book. My first book was Success with an Attitude. I did a second one called Health with an Attitude, which has been very, very well received this last year during COVID. And I'm working on publishing my third book, Leadership with an Attitude. And it's going to come out in February, and it'll be available on Amazon. And I really look forward to that because it's all, again, focuses down on what people's attitudes are. I do several seminars for a lot of the senior living centers around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And because of COVID and Zoom and StreamYard, I've been able to do them all over. And it's all about increasing their attitude, motivating, empowering them to be better and have a better attitude. And it's been working out well, which goes really well with our guest speaker coming up because she just does wonders with the eldercare. I cannot hear you, Jackie.
Sorry, I always put myself on mute when the guests are speaking. We have a couple of comments, which I'd love to share. Let's see, from Popo TJ, keep up the good work. Thank you so much for watching. Is that a friend of yours, Fred?
No, I don't know Popo. I don't think I do. No, TJ, I don't even think it's a contact. If not, contact me on LinkedIn, Popo.
Thank you so much, Popo. And great, God bless you from Sony. Both of them watching on Facebook.
I think this all goes out to you as well as me.
Well, I'll take it. I'll take all the blessings I can get. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. So, Fred, tell us a little bit about this fabulous guest you've brought to the platform today.
She started out in the business world, and I think she kind of gave up that career, a lucrative career and everything like that, to get back and do some more on her education. And what she became was she started specializing in healthcare with the elderly and eldercare. And those are some of the questions I really want to dig in deeper with her. And we've been friends for probably the last couple of years here during COVID. She works for the Sunrise Senior Living Center here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I've done some of my seminars there for them: Faith with an Attitude, Gratitude with an Attitude, Health with an Attitude. And I love working with these seniors, and I can see why she has such a passion for what she does, and she does so much. So she has an incredible career with Marriott, the chain of Marriott. She was incredible.
I saw that.
Said she worked 12 years or something like that. And her credentials there were monumental on the way she planned events, entertainment and the things that she did to further, Marriott's holds the way they handle their guests and their customers. And I think she's doing the same thing with these incredible seniors.
Yeah, that's a great way to leverage her professional background. And I can't wait to get her out here. I worked in the event management space for, I think, 18 years. I sold meetings and events. And so we would look for properties that would host our groups. So let's bring her on. Welcome to the program, Laura J. Black. Nice to see you.
Hi, Laura.
Hi. Happy holidays. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy holidays
happy
to
holidays.
you as well. So, Laura, you heard the introduction that Fred gave. Why don't you start off just sharing a little bit about your background in corporate, what you learned from there, and how you're parlaying that into what you're doing today?
Sure, yeah. As Fred mentioned, I worked with Marriott International for 12 years, both in the Caribbean and in the state of Texas. And it was a great experience for me being in the hospitality world. I have a passion for helping people and making their lives easier and more seamless. So event management was definitely the perfect niche for me. And it was a very unfortunate incident just over 4 years ago, about 4.5 years ago now, where my father at the age of 76 was, like most seniors, living at home, retired finally, and just spending all day sort of watching TV and not doing anything much more than that. And I see that so much with seniors that they finally are no longer working. They've got all this time on their hands, but they're not making the best use of it. They're just surviving their golden years and not looking for opportunities to thrive. So that's where I came in. But with my dad in particular, we knew where he was every minute of the day because he had the same sort of schedule. He would go to the grocery store on Tuesdays for senior night. He'd go to the Polish American Club on the first Sunday of the month. And one day my brother was trying to get a hold of him and he didn't answer the phone. And finally his wife went over to go check on him. And unfortunately, at the age of 76, my father had fallen and he was on the floor, still alive, but knocked out. And he had been there, we estimated, for about 36 hours. And the brain bleed was so severe, it actually moved his brain 9 millimeters. So he would no longer have the ability to walk or talk or eat or have any meaningful life at all. And that was really a huge wake-up call for me, that for someone who walked 2 miles a day, was in the best shape of his life, the same as he was when he served in the Navy many years ago, and didn't smoke, didn't drink, ate healthy, but it was the second time he fell, and it was the last. So my brother and I were both there with him when he passed away very peacefully about a week later. And I realized that I had a calling, and that was to work with as many families as I could to help them make that transition into senior living. So again, our seniors could thrive, not just survive those golden years. Mm-hmm. And same thing with my dad's mother. Years before, she had been diagnosed with terminal cancer. So she spent the last 30 days of her life laying in bed waiting to die, which sadly most seniors think senior living is. And it's really like a cruise ship that doesn't leave port. So it's an amazing experience. My husband and I talk every day about retiring. We can't wait to do it. You have these older generations who have this negative connotation of literally waiting in bed or laying in bed waiting to die, which is what my grandmother did the last 30 days of her life. And she told me, she said, "Laura, this is the happiest I've ever been." And that really struck me. I said, "What do you mean, Grandma? Why are you happy?" She goes, "I'm waited on hand and foot. I don't want for anything. I'm treated like a queen here." As she's laying in bed waiting to die, she was happy. And again, it was just an aha moment. I'm like, if we can get people to transition into senior living when they're young and healthy and vibrant, and they can enjoy the social integration, nutritious food, activities, they would have much more fulfilling lives in retirement. So that's my passion, and that's something that I strive to help families achieve every day. And I'm very, very honored to have that opportunity.
Wow, Laura, thank you so much for your authenticity and for sharing that personal story. I think we can all relate to it in some way or another. It's great work that you're doing.
Yeah, Interesting back then, the way you
Thank
talk about
you.
getting seniors into these assisted living homes and these senior communities. You know, Laura, over the last 6.5 years, I've done a lot of my seminars at a ton, you know, over 100 of these assisted living homes all around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I guarantee you, you're right. I've gone to some that are they're just like a 5-star hotel, and they have elegant places. They got a
Yes.
piano in every room. They got take tables over here. They got meetings. They got they're gorgeous. And I've gone to eat in some of the
Yes.
restaurants, some really good food. And so
Oh, yes.
people need to have a better understanding of when they say, "Oh, I got to go to an old folks home." No, there's entertainment, and there's you know they bring in people like me, and you know before COVID hit, I was starting to
Yes.
do my singing again, and that was a lot of fun for me because they were just having a ball with me, and it's such a joy to watch them. I'll come into a session where they're playing bingo and they're finishing up. They're all excited. They're happy. They're having a good time. They have things to do. They don't just sit around
Yes.
waiting to die. They're busy. You guys keep them busy,
Yes.
Laura. You guys are the busiest people on the face of this planet, I swear. And I love you guys for it.
And we love you too, Fred. We love having you come to speak. We look forward to having you come back. But um, Fred's being modest. As a housewarming gift for all of our residents, I give a copy of his book, and I'm hoping he'll be here soon so he can start autographing some. But no, he's right. People just don't get it. If I had $1 for every 95-year-old who said, "Oh, I don't want to be around these old people," I would be a millionaire. And after my father passed, yeah, I looked at my brother and I looked at my mom, and she was not living a healthy lifestyle. She never worked out in her life. Sitting on the couch, watching TV, drinking wine, eating a bag of chips, wouldn't go out at night, wouldn't drive on the highway, but very social and outgoing. And I looked at my brother and I said, she's going to be dead in 5 years. I mean, she's just doesn't have a healthy lifestyle. And when I started working in senior living, I would call her every day and just tell her about my day. And she one day said to me, "Okay, sign me up." And my jaw hit the floor. And usually it's not that easy. It usually takes an average of 3 years from the moment someone says, "Hey, I might need to make a change," to actually moving in. But she moved here from Connecticut to the DFW area. And I'm proud to say she's so active. She's secretary of the book club. She's on the fire safety committee. She's the Friday night social chairperson. She became a notary, so she helps the seniors with their documents. And instead of 5 years, I'm giving my mom now a life expectancy of another 20. So I just hope she doesn't eat up too much of my inheritance in that time, but I've never seen her happier in my life. So it just makes me so proud. And she, again, moved here from Connecticut. So this is her first experience with Southern hospitality. So she goes out of her way to welcome new residents. If someone's there that she doesn't know, she's like, "Come here, let me introduce you around," and takes them under her wing. And she really enjoys it. So she's truly the epitome of thriving senior. And I hope I can be here when I grow up.
Laura, that's so inspirational and uplifting, because there are misnomers that people have that, "Oh, I have to go
Yes.
there," or "You don't love me," or "You're sending me
Mhm.
away." So thank you for dispelling that.
Mhm.
And what is the process like once someone makes the decision that they want to go into senior care, senior living? What comes next? It's not like you said, you don't just show up and go, "Hi, here I am."
Yes. I think the most effective strategy, if you do have a senior who is starting to think about, "Gee, this house is too much for me to manage." Like, so my mom, she had to hire someone to change a light bulb. I mean, houses become a burden after a while. You're paying for someone to clean it, someone to do your lawn, you're paying for utilities, taxes, insurance. Sure, your mortgage is paid, but you still have all these other expenses, car expenses, insurance, the groceries. These are all expenses that are included in the majority of senior living environments. So I would recommend for adult children, especially, and that's who I work with, try to educate them and help counsel them, to be open to these conversations. They themselves may not be aware of what senior living looks like. And they're like, "Oh, I don't want mom to be in an old person's home." I mean, they're thinking Nurse Ratched, One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest. And again, it's not that at all. It's like living on a vacation permanently. I mean, I literally can't wait. And So my recommendation for adult children is to sort of go out and vet these different communities, because they're really a dime a dozen at this point in time. Where you're going to see real differences are location, price, and ambiance. We have a lot of people moving into Texas because it's just such a great economy here. You have a lot of adult children who work in this area, but their parents maybe live outside of the state. So moving them in is a big deal. So you really want to take that opportunity as an adult child to vet different communities. And I would narrow it down to 2, 3 at the absolute most, and then get the senior involved in the process, because taking seniors to too many locations can become incredibly overwhelming, to the point that they're just like, oh, this is too much, forget it, I don't want to do this. They're going to find any excuse to say no. It's kind of like a roller coaster of emotions. The process is not logical at all. It's completely psychological, it's emotional, and just being open to what they're saying and being supportive. The biggest problem is seniors do not want to leave their house. Like my dad, for example, he saved since he was 5 years old to buy that house. He lived there for 55 years. He was never going to leave it alive, and he got his wish, sadly. But I always remind people, look at the victims of tornadoes, fires, hurricanes, floods. I know people just in Texas alone who've lost everything. And when you think about it, you watch the news and people always say, well, at least, I have my family, I have my health. And as you age, having your health isn't always the number one thing you're thinking about. You're lucky to be alive. I mean, I know people in their hundreds who are like, why am I still alive? But they're living their best lives. They're living healthy. So the transition is incredibly difficult. Adult children, it's easy to get discouraged. Asking probing questions is vital to understanding the mindset of the senior, so that you can help them navigate this process. For example, I had one lady who came into the community. She had friends that lived there, and she would eat lunch every day. She would literally lick her plate. And her daughter called me and said, I think mom's ready to make the move. And then when she talked to her mom about it, her mother said, oh, I don't like the food. They're going to find any excuse, even though she's there every week licking the plate. She doesn't like the food, really? They'll find any excuse to get out of it. So you have to be gentle. You have to be open. And I absolutely partner with families to come up with creative strategies for managing the process, for sure. Most people wait too long, and we could talk more about that.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting to talk about. We have a couple of comments, and then I have one more question before I turn it over to Fred.
Sure.
Okay, Sony is from Pakistan. Well, thank you so much for watching from Pakistan. And
I love your food. I love your food.
Shanna Young, yes,
Shanna.
Make touring the communities an event rather than a task. Brilliant.
Great advice. Yeah, it's great.
So, Laura, here's my
Yes,
follow-up question for you.
Good.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, Shanna's actually a dear friend of mine. She is a caregiver in the Austin area, and also an activities professional. You see my credentials. TRD is a therapeutic recreation director, and that is something that she is as well. So she's one of the best caregivers that I've ever worked with in my entire life. You'll see some caregivers sort of just sitting around waiting for the senior to need something. If they stay at home, you bring in a caregiver, and they literally are sitting at home waiting for them to need something. Whereas Shanna will actually engage with the seniors and take them on little trips or do activities with them, not just sit around on her phone or watching TV, which is sadly what I see a lot of people do. So it's hard to find good people like her.
She sounds like a very special and heart-centric person.
Yes. Yes.
So thank you for watching, Shanna. My follow-up question is this: as an adult child, given the transition for the adult, the parents to move, should you try to find a place that is very close so that you can visit on a regular basis, or is it better to let them acclimate and adjust and you don't visit on a regular basis?
Good question.
That's a great question, Jacalyn. There's two answers to that. The majority of people, their motivation for moving seniors in is to actually get them physically closer to adult children and grandchildren. So it just makes it more convenient for visiting. I mean, we adult children are literally the sandwich generation, trying to manage the activities of our children while trying to take care of our aging parents. So convenience is a major, major factor for finding a location. Now, if you're dealing with a memory care community, where I work has, we refer to as reminiscence, because reminiscing sounds more positive than memory care as a positive connotation, as well as independent assisted living. If someone is moving into a memory care reminiscence neighborhood, typically the recommendation is that we let them get settled before the visitation comes in. And then we're talking about people with severe cognitive impairment. In that case, where routine is critically important. And that's what I alluded to earlier, that often people wait too long. You have to want to move into independent living, be on your resort cruise ship. Assisted living is when people start to need assistance with their activities of daily living, referred to as ADLs, like they need help with dressing or bathing or toileting, eating, mobility issues, medication management. Then reminiscence is, again, when you have mild to severe cognitive impairment, where you really need a lot of redirection and assistance just getting through your daily activities of living. And often people are living at home for way too long, and then they skip the fun cruise ship part of the senior living, and they have to go directly into assisted or reminiscence. And that's a significantly more difficult transition to make.
I really appreciate you and all of that valuable information. Thank you. Fred, why don't you jump
incredible. In here? I've seen the same thing. My favorite time to go and do any of my seminars is at about 2:00 in the afternoon, because it's right after lunch, and I get to go there and I get to set up and hook up to the TV and everything. Then I love to go to the lunchroom and sit down at different tables and say, hey, you ought to come in and watch this thing. It's going to be a lot of fun and entertaining. It's not going to be boring. I'll tell a lot of jokes, but I get to talk to them, and I get the whole gamut, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like you said, I'm looking at this fabulous plate of food. The food here is terrible. And the other person just sitting across says, this is the best food I've ever had. There's a gambit of all of these people that have different attitudes all the way through. And your job is, the way you guys have to balance entertainment, lifestyle, healthcare, exercise, classes, just keeping them entertained and healthy and keeping their attitudes up, because that's the biggest thing I've seen is if I can walk into a room and I can see the people sit down in front of me and stuff like that, and I know the ones that are going to enjoy it and take something away from it, and the other ones that might come across, and the other ones that just So your job, Laura, every one of you, when you're planning your events and everything, it's got to be one of the difficult things to do, because like you said, a lot of them wait too long and they don't get that cruise ship attitude. The only thing that they don't have is, the good thing is that you don't get seasick there, right? On a cruise ship you can, but these people miss that part of it, and they just go into the assisted living part and they feel kind of dejected and down. And to keep their motivation up, it's a tough job. And so I can see the challenges you had. What was your biggest challenge? I want to ask you during the last 2 years with all of this COVID shutdown and all of these things, because I know that you all faced a massive lockdown challenge for your seniors. I have a sister-in-law in Arizona that's in an assisted living home. And, it was difficult. She couldn't even go down and play bingo, and that was her favorite thing to do. And it was tough. What did you work through there at Sunrise Senior that made it better? Oop. We're losing you.
Yeah, there's definitely different criteria. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, yeah, because Fred, you're a little choppy there, but I think I got the gist of that. There's different criteria mandated by the state and the CDC based on the demographic that you have. During the height of COVID, I was actually working at another community that was independent living, so they had a lot less difficulty, a lot less restrictions, let's say, with that. But what we did here at the community where I currently work is we have this beautiful temperature controlled sunroom where we're able to put a table and chairs in the sunroom, and then on the opposite in the living room, there was a window separating the sunroom from the living room. We put another table and chairs, and then and we put a microphone system up. So the residents would be able to see and talk to and hear their loved ones. They just couldn't touch them. So we were able to have visitations like that. And that was extremely helpful. But honestly, living in a community, a senior living community during COVID, I think was significantly less challenging than living at home. I see nothing but people who are stuck at home, isolated, lacking that social integration, the fear of the disease, of the virus, the inability to even go to the grocery store, to go to church. That had such a detrimental effect on seniors. I've seen them decline in 2 years. I've seen them decline like 10 years, would normally take 10 years.
Wow.
Whereas people who live in a senior retirement community, we still fed them every day. There's a period of time where you couldn't come to the dining room, but we would bring meals to them every day. Our staff was showing up every day. We were having one-on-one activities with people. We were streaming programs like, with you, Fred, and your Zoom. We could stream those in the residents' rooms. So there's things that were still taking place so that they didn't feel isolated and alone, which I think is much more detrimental than having a drinking or drug problem. Honestly, you need that social integration to have purpose in life and live a purpose-driven life and have a reason to get up in the morning, to take a shower, to get out of bed. And we're giving that to seniors every day. And now with the vaccine, of course, everybody was jumping at the chance to get vaccinated, and we're back to business as usual. And honestly, we had the busiest year, I think, in Q1. We had, I think, 33 move-ins in 60 days because people were just like, I don't want to be home alone anymore. I just need to have this community in my life, because even if you have a spouse, it's still like enough already, I need someone else in my life.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes, it is.
That's a really good point. I was going to ask, oh, sorry, Laura, I was going to ask you, in addition to all the socialization and the events and the wonderful care that you give there, you and your staff, what about the ability to meet somebody and start that next chapter of your life? Is there any of that going on where people are actually interested in having, a buddy, a friend, somebody to do things with?
You're so cute. Are you single and looking to mingle?
I'm going to be right over.
Well, I'll tell you, our residents are very social, and we see friendships and romances bloom in this environment. It's actually quite lovely. We definitely, here at the community where I currently am employed, we have a welcoming committee. So when seniors do move in, they're not left on their own. They are greeted by welcoming committee. We already have discovered their interests and careers and habits and that sort of thing, what they might be interested in doing, whether it be like mahjong or bridge or dominoes or poker, or, reading or writing or walking. And we will connect them with like-minded people who have similar interests so that they can accelerate that process. But it's just like starting freshman year in high school. You just kind of walk in like, hey, and everybody's very, very warm and welcoming. And people don't just move in. There's a process wherein the families and the senior themselves will tour, usually many times. Always invite them for a meal because our food is exceptional. As Fred mentioned, the food is like 5-star restaurants. And I've got grandma-itis. I love to feed people like grandmas do. And they get an opportunity to meet other residents, and people just click right away, which is very exciting. I'm just seeing Shanna's note here about being a matchmaker, but are you talking about me? I'm a matchmaker. Yeah, I matched a lot of people in my life for sure.
Be careful.
But
I love it.
No, definitely. But it's just exciting to have like this whole new community to support you. And another piece of it that's critically important and really makes me sad is when I work with couples. I just recently met with a couple where he's diagnosed with something that's going to prematurely end his life. And it's something that his first wife had gone through, and he took care of her at home. And it was devastating for him, and it was very difficult for him to do that. And he's diagnosed with the same affliction, and his current wife, and they started looking at places so she would have a place to live when he was no longer with us. And I said, well, let me ask you a question. Do you want your wife to go through what you went through with your wife? And he said, no. I said, well, then why are you waiting until you're gone before you move in? Wouldn't you prefer to move here together as a couple so everybody can know and enjoy your company for as much time as you have left? And then when you do pass, your wife can reminisce with her friends who were also your friends, who could support and elevate her emotionally and spiritually, versus coming into a new community after your death and dealing with the number one stressor and the number three stressor in your life, and start all over and just talk about somebody that they don't know. It's a huge difference. I see seniors, and often you have, I don't know if you can see we'll have let me speak it on the camera here. So you have a married couple, and one is sort of declining faster than the other. And then this one, as caregiver, sort of follows along that path. And then we lose this person, and this person tends to hover right around here. Now take that same couple in the senior living environment, and you see this.
Wow.
That's
Great
literally
example.
what you see, because you have the support of the community raising you up. Oh, I get goosebumps. But I've seen it too many times. It's just a huge difference having the support of your community when you lose the love of your life after 50, 60, 70 years these couples have been together. And just trying to make that move after your spouse dies and you have the memories of that house and you're trying to close it down yourself, it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. So anytime I find married couples, I'm like, please, I wish I was a millionaire. I would pay the rent for a year. Just please come in now while you're together. That's how passionate I'm about making that move. And sometimes they just don't see the forest through the trees. It's frustrating.
That was a great example, and I've seen it too. Being there, I've seen both sides. I've seen the younger, when I say the married couples coming together, they're both elderly and everything. They're getting older, they have issues or whatever. But I've seen them here, and they go to happy hour, they go to bingo, they play together, and they go back to the room together, and they have a good time together. And then one over 6 years, I've seen one. Oh, well, last year my wife passed away, and my husband passed away, and I could see that. But their like I said, attitude to me is so imperative on anything you do. That person's attitude that lost a spouse that I've seen a year later or 2 years later or so, it's still here. Said, you know what, we had a great time here. It breaks my heart sometimes to see the ones that have gone in afterwards, and they've lost it. They've lost every reason. They don't have the memories that they shared there, and I see that a lot. And I wish the media out there would do more advertising and stuff and dispel the old folks home syndrome of what senior living is like, because it can be incredibly wonderful. And the
I'm doing that one family at a time.
And it's just one step at a time. But
it's like, man, it sounds like in addition to everything that you do, Laura, you're like a life coach / therapist as well.
Yes, yes. Educator, counselor, therapist, shoulder to
Laura,
cry
you ought to
on.
hold classes.
Yes, yeah.
You need to hold classes for a whole bunch of these other activity directors and sales marketing managers. You need to hold some courses and teach these what to do, because you're doing an incredible job.
Thank you. I wish I could. If I could save everybody, I would. But it's such an honor and a privilege when I have families come to me and they say, Laura, you saved our family. We're so grateful for you. I laugh every time I get a paycheck, because this is such a passion for me, just helping these families to make this transition, because it's not easy. I failed with my father. I failed with my grandmother. I didn't fail with my mother, and she's thriving. I mean, she works out every day now. She lost 3 inches off her waist in the first week. I'm like, go mom, But it's just amazing.
I love it. So
Shannon's going to take your class.
Yes, she is. Yeah. Let's talk about some of the tips that we've learned. I just want to
Sure.
reinforce some of the tips that we've heard so far today, because I know there's more. So basically, don't wait, right? Don't wait until
Right.
it's too late and
No.
it doesn't, you're not going to find the value. And also, if you are a couple, if you are together, look at going into this new wonderful environment together.
Right.
Yeah.
Another
Absolutely.
takeaway was
Absolutely.
another takeaway that you all provide is that the burden that you take off the adult children when the seniors do go into
Yes.
a home,
Yes.
it's just like they know they're being taken care of. They're not waking up in the middle of the night wondering if, oh, did mom take her medicine? Did she
Mhm.
fall? Did
Yeah.
can she pay the rent? Can she pay
Right.
the property taxes at the end of the year? Is she going to drive today? Those things, that burden goes away. So
Yeah.
on both areas, the kids and the seniors, it's a
Yes.
blessing to both.
And yeah, that's an excellent point, Fred. And it's and that's why the partnership I have with the adult children is so critically important to the success of the overall transition, because they become influencers as long as they're buying in. And this time of year becomes incredibly busy for communities like mine, because sometimes you've got adult children that don't live close to their parents, and they're seeing them over the holidays, and they're like, wow. I mean, I remember when I went to college, when I came back, when I graduated college, my grandfather, his mind was gone. He had Alzheimer's. And I just thought my grandmother nagged him so much he forgot how to think for himself. But he literally just was incapable of comprehending anything. And that's before I even knew about Alzheimer's. And it's just very, very challenging. So after adult children see their parents over the holidays, they start calling. We get tons of phone calls. And I know, Fred, you're always reaching out to me, and I'm like, I'll get back to you in 2 days. It's like, I'm here till 8:30 at night returning phone calls. It's like, I just want to help everybody. There's just not enough time in the day. And, just talking to them about these different strategies that we can implement based on the characteristics. I mean, you've got people who are major fall risks, who are too proud to use a walker. You've got people who live in 3,000 square foot homes who are just like, well, I can't downsize, even though they don't need anything in that house. And I'm like, take what you need, go back to the house, take what you want if there's still room, and then get rid of the rest. I mean, there's so many resources for veterans benefits, moving, downsizing, selling. And right now, I mean, I wish I had a house to sell right now. I mean, go win the lottery, mom and dad. It's like your house is worth $1 million. Let's
Yeah,
win
really.
it. But it's a process. It's definitely a process of educating and counseling, and really leveraging the passion of the adult children and wanting to relieve themselves of that burden. And no senior wants to be a burden to anybody. So a lot of times they hide and mask what's going on in their world so their kids don't see it, because they're afraid of getting put into a home, because they don't understand what that is. You have to understand, senior living as we know it has only been around for 40 years. Before that, all we had were insane asylums and nursing homes, which were usually like state-run metal beds where they just kind of leave you to die. And that's all our seniors see, because none of their elders have ever gone into a home. And if they did, it was the worst thing in the world.
Mm-hmm. Really
Such great points that you were bringing up, because I think there's also a lot of fear and a lot of ego. Well, I've always taken care of my own home, and I've
Yes.
always done this, and I've always been good at that. And you're not taking that away from me. And I'm a great driver. I can still drive, and it goes back and forth. So I love how you shared that it's a process.
It is. And I always just say to them, don't you deserve to be treated like a king or a queen? I mean, I know people with more money than God, and they don't have any kids, but they're still insisting on staying in their home and bringing people in, which is fine if that works for you. But it's that social integration that's key to one's overall wellness. And if you're home and you just are paying caregivers to come in to feed you, clean, and take you on, errands to your doctor's appointments, I just don't see that as any way of living. Maybe as a temporary fix, but not full time. I mean, that's just my position. But people they get attached to their homes, and they don't want to leave. And then again, it gets to be too late. So they go from a 3,000 square foot home to a 300, square foot suite in our assisted living neighborhood, because the concept is that's your bedroom, and the rest of the community, 100,000 square feet of it, is the rest of your house. So it's just, they can't really wrap their minds around it. I mean, the American dream is owning a home, and people just don't want to give it up. I know it'll get a lot easier when I get into Generation X, but right now the boomers are
Yeah.
still a little stubborn.
Yeah, they don't understand it. They're living in a different dimension than we are right now, and they'll get there. The
Yeah.
older
I
they
still gotta
get,
get
they'll
Fred
start
to move in.
understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, Fred's a great ambassador. I love it.
I
I'm 76
know. I'll give you a great
myself,
deal,
so
Fred. Come on down.
okay. Yeah. I want a
What-
cabin on seaside with a balcony so I can look at the ocean though on the cruise ship.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
There
We,
you
So,
go.
Laura,
There you go.
is
We'll give you
there
the
a
owner
wait right
suite.
now?
We do have a waiting list for independent living neighborhood, but we do have immediate availability for our assisted living and reminiscence neighborhoods. Typically, like I said, for independent living, the transition period from like, hey, I should make a move to actually moving in is about 3 years. And the waiting list is always changing. Like we have an opening and I'll call somebody and they couldn't wait, so they went somewhere else, or they waited too long and they need assisted living. So we have that conversation. Assisted living and reminiscence typically is less than 30 days. Often you'll have someone will have a fall at home and they're in rehab, and then rehab is going to release them, and then suddenly they need a place to go. And that's the tricky thing. When somebody falls, I mean, you remember George Burns, he lived to be over 100, drank whiskey every day, smoked a cigar every day. He fell in the bathtub, he was dead in 6 months. So we just want to keep people from falling, and actually do a fall prevention seminar or presentation at like churches and senior centers and the Jewish Community Center, because falling is not a natural part of aging. Forgetfulness is, but falling is not. So if someone does fall, they end up in rehab, maybe they can't go back home, and then suddenly the family's scrambling to find a place. So we find that as a more a quicker process of getting them in. And reminiscence, unfortunately, everybody 100% denies that their loved one needs it, and they do. I strongly recommend. There's a great movie called What We Had. It stars Hilary Swank and Blythe Danner, and that is a perfect slice of life of what the typical family goes through when dealing with a loved one who has dementia. It's a fantastic movie. It's 100% accurate, and I highly recommend anyone who has a senior in their life, or anyone who's concerned about dementia or knows someone with dementia. I would watch that movie, and I think that might help to understand the family dynamic that people go through in this process. It's very challenging.
Post
Definitely
that
look
movie on
into that.
LinkedIn,
I'll
Laura.
put that in.
Yeah,
I'll put that
that'd
in
be
the
great.
notes so you have it there.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a
Laura,
safety
you have
movie.
really
You know,
shared so
Yes.
much wonderful information that's really relevant and resonates with me and with so many people. And thank you for everything that you're doing, and Shanna for everything that you're doing. It's just so important and wonderful. Seriously, to know that there are people like you, that if family members are going into this next phase of their life, they're going to have fun, and they're going to be around positive, supportive people
Yes.
like the two of you.
yeah, it is
Thank you.
fantastic.
Yes, like I said, it's a labor of love. I'm very proud and honored to have this opportunity to help families make that transition.
And Laura,
what are
I
your
don't see the
goals?
name of the movie. Can you hit send if you just to post it?
Oh, sorry.
Thanks.
Okay.
Try that again.
While you're doing that, I got a question for you. We're getting rid of 2021 and we're going into 2022. Two things. What are your goals
We
for?
sure are.
What are your goals, your personal goals for Laura Black this coming 2022? And what are your goals for the Sunrise Senior Living community? Do you have some
Well,
plans
for
out there?
me, I actually just finished my MBA in healthcare management, so I'm really proud of that. Something I've been working on for a while, and my chat is frozen. I'm sorry. Thank you. So I'm really excited about that. And thank you. With the company, obviously, we're hoping to continue to grow and get more people moved into the community. We deliver quick meals to families. You know, our chef would cook meals, and I would just deliver them to people because they couldn't get out of the house. And continue to do that. I do partner with local churches to discover if there's any seniors who haven't been making it to they have been making it to church on Sundays, and maybe bring them some food or supplies or anything like that. I'll continue to do that. But it's really about continuing to build those relationships. I'm hoping to get Fred to come in and see us in person this year. That's definitely a goal of mine. And just continue to share the love and get as many people educated on senior living as possible, so that they can also experience that transition and get their families into a place where they can just, again, thrive, not just survive their senior years. That's always my goal. And then actually go out on some more cruise ships too when I have some spare time.
Yeah, there you go. That's good.
You're certainly staying productive and busy. So congratulations on everything that you're doing.
Really.
And Laura, what is the
Thank
best way
you.
for people to reach out to you, and who should contact you?
Any families or seniors or professionals who want to partner with me, we always, we work with professionals for referrals, that sort of thing. Any adult children who, they don't have to move in here. You don't have to move your parents in here, but I'm happy to share with you all the resources that I have and help educate you to have those appropriate conversations with your loved ones so that you can make that transition. I'm very Miracle on 34th Street. You don't have to live here. They just need to get out of their homes. The millennials are desperate to buy homes, and the seniors aren't getting out. So help them out. It's a cycle. But in all seriousness, anything I can do, or anyone wants to reach out to me and partner in any way. I'm also the president president of the North Texas Area Gerontological Society. So if anybody wants to reach out to me at www.ntagS.org, and if I get my chat back on, I'll put that in here as well.
Yes,
we're
please.
a professional networking group that work with the seniors. And we also provide a scholarship to caregivers who are continuing their education. And we do a Caregiver of the Year award as well. And we meet once a month. And if anyone wants to join that program, they're welcome to do that. We have a meeting coming up pretty soon. We have networking events every month. So anybody wants to reach out to me for any reason, I'm happy to volunteer. I'm happy to come speak. I'm happy to meet. Anything that anyone needs, I'm open to. Just ask.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Shanna, for helping me do my job there. There's the website, www.ntagS.com. It has been an absolute pleasure having you. I apologize. We have a show right after this. Laura, take care of yourself. Happy New Year. And feel free to come back and visit us on any of our shows. And same thing with you, Shanna. We'd love to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. God bless.
Bye-bye.
And Happy New Year.
Take care.
Happy New Year.
Fred,
Fred,
fantastic.
She's amazing. Yes, it's a topic that's very near and dear to me and so many other people. So I just would love to, thank you, Shanna. I'd just love to have you spotlight for a moment and just share anything you'd like to as you reflect on your journey here being a co-host and the wonderful people that you've brought on board. Anything you'd like to say to our audience?
As your audience, you're doing 20 different broadcasts during a week, and they're all incredible. They all have different. This one is called The Wise Ones, but you have so many things on beauty. You have cooking. You have all sort of. You do the gambit, and I'm just so honored that I was able to be part of this incredible journey that I've been on this last several months, just being a co-host and being able to bring people that I contact with, like on LinkedIn, to come and be a guest on this show. And we've had some incredible folks on here, and so we've learned so many things. It's been fantastic. And I can't thank you enough for allowing me to be part of it. And I hope, I know we'll get together throughout this next year on some different things. And I hope you contact me, and I'll stay in touch with you, and we have some incredible stuff coming up, and I'd love to share it with you and your viewers, because you have an incredible audience on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and all of these things. You have an incredible outlet. USA Global TV is a national treasure, and we thank you for doing it and presenting it.
Well, thank you so much, Fred. You're a sweetheart. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you, and who would you like to contact you?
Okay, right down there at the bottom, FKIENLE at AOL.com. The last name is pronounced Kienle, but you can call me anything but late for dinner. So what I encourage you to do is also look me up, put my name in. If you're on LinkedIn, if you're not on LinkedIn, you ought to get on LinkedIn. It's a great business place to be. And just put my name in the search there and you'll find it, and incredible resources. And you can get a hold of my books. And like I said, this coming February, I plan to publish my fourth book. It's my third personal book I've done. I shared a book earlier. This one will be called Leadership with an Attitude, and it's incredible. I even got Ken Blanchard, the one that wrote 1 Minute Management. He's going to do a endorsement for me on the book, and I'm just thrilled to have a lot of these people endorsing me and encouraging me, like Zig Ziglar did, and Tom Ziglar, his son, and incredible people that backed me. I can't thank them enough for being behind me and allowing me to, become a speaker, become, doing these things that I'm doing to help other people like you're doing, Jacalyn. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. I appreciate you so much. And it's not goodbye. It's until I see you again, because I know
Correct.
you will be back. We'll be happy to have you.
That's true. That's true. And if you're looking for a great book for your health and everything, and coming from anybody's age, I don't care if you're a teenager all the way up to 150 years old, Health with an Attitude on Amazon.com. It's a wonderful book. And that's why Laura has been giving them out. She's a treasure. She did beautiful. She's handing out to new people that come into into her senior Sunrise Senior Living Center. And I appreciate that so much.
All right. I'm typing it up quickly. Health with an Attitude. I can spell it right. Okay. On Amazon.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. You'll say Health with an Attitude by Fred Kienle, and it'll bring it up. And it's in Kindle and or hardback, a paperback. So paperback, not hardback, but it's a paperback. And I'm really proud of it, because I've had so much feedback on how it's helped a lot of people. And it's based on the seminar I've been doing for over 6 years. And I know that seminar has helped a lot of people.
Well, we just heard it here live, how many people you're helping. So I'm just going to put up the book, Health with an Attitude. There it is. You can just Google Fred's name and you'll find it. So Fred, we have to say goodbye for now. Yes, and everybody, we wish you a very happy holiday season and hope that you'll continue watching. Our next show is the Business Talk Show. We'll be right back in 5 minutes. See you later, everyone.
Jackie. God bless. Happy New Year.
God bless you, Fred. Bye-bye. Happy New Year.